Today I'm down here in the potato patch. I've got potatoes that I need to pull out today, so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about them. My potatoes aren't quite ready to come out, but we had a great amount of rain last weekend, so I'm actually going to pull them out because some of them are starting to come out of the ground, so I'm going to end up losing them to the sun because they'll make them go green. So ideally when you're harvesting your potatoes, the tops need to completely dry off, but mine haven't. But because of the rains, I'm going to have to pull them out, and whatever is in there I get is what I'm going to get this year. So I'm going to show you what they look like at the moment, and then I'm going to take you through and show you what I get out of it. So this is a potato patch. You can see that it's still quite green. There are some sections down here that have started dying off, so they're not far off being ready anyway. So there's quite a large patch here of potatoes with a nice big zucchini in the middle. So it's probably, I don't know, maybe 3-4 meters by meter and a half area. These potatoes were planted in here just before Christmas, and they've been here since then. This section here that we're looking at here was planted from store-bought potatoes, and they have done really quite well in growth. We'll see how they come out and what I actually can plant. This section of potatoes, fork just fell over, was done through store-bought, but it was planted in earlier. But as you can see, there is a rather large zucchini plant growing in the middle of it, which does have powdery mildew. You can see here quite a bad section in here of powdery mildew, so that does need to come out as well. That's what it looks like, and then it basically takes over the entire leaf and it dies out. So that'll be coming out today as well. One half of this I bought was going to actually preserve the potatoes, dehydrate them, but I didn't get around to that, and they actually started sprouting and going rotten in the bag. So I went, bring them out here, throw them in the garden, dug some trenches, threw them in the garden, gave them some water, a little bit of dynamic lifter, and they've grown quite nicely in here. So today I'm going to dig them out, and we'll see what we get. All right, let's go. I've only dug a hole about that big so far, about a foot so. And you can see what I've got sitting on the surface. This is why I wanted to get them out, because they are so close to the surface, and if any more sand comes off them, they'll be no good. So it's looking like it's going to be a really good batch of potatoes. So I'm going to keep digging, and I will fill you in with what I get. So you can see here, where is he? Little friend of mine. There's another one there. There's some other different types of bugs in here as well. More worms. This is a very, very healthy soil. It's nice and rich and black. There's another one sitting here, along with my little March fry friend. Get off. Don't bite me. The potatoes are just coming out of the bed. It's amazing. So I'm going to show you why the potatoes are being harvested when they're obviously not fully ready because they're still green tops. But if you look here, I have potatoes sticking out of the ground. That is not good because that potato is now not usable. It's not a half decent sized potato. And you can see how the different coloration is on the top here. It's starting to get, so if I can get a better shot of that, a slight green tinge to it because it's exposed to the sun, which turns potato green, which makes them inedible. I might be able to cut the top bit off and use the bottom half, but that's just the reason why I'm digging them out, because as they start to get bigger and they start to pop out of the top of the ground, I'm not going to be able to use them. So I'm not sure. Here we go. I've got one in here, perfect example. Right here. This is always hard to deal with nature. A potato here, another one just starting to come out here. You can see this one has a green tinge to it, whereas this one doesn't yet. So I'm going to pull him out so you can see. So that's the top bit. It's all going green. I'm not sure how well you can see that on the camera. So that becomes inedible. Basically, doesn't taste good. Not always. You know, people say it's poisonous. Well, I mean, I've cooked with potatoes that are not that green, you know, but the rest of the potato is usable. So I'll just chop the green bit off and keep going with it. So that is why. And there's more in here. So there's another one there. Another one here. So they're starting to come out of the ground due to the soil being washed off the top and probably their size getting as well. And maybe I didn't bury them deep enough. I can just see some more in here. I can get nature to move out of the way for us. Okay, so this one is actually, yeah, you can see it's starting to actually sprout again to produce more potatoes. So that's what happens. So that's not good for me. Good sized potatoes out of this, you know. They're not bad sized potatoes I'm pulling out of here. So really, I'll have a nice crop of potatoes and probably dehydrate some. If I've got enough, I'll can some. Something I haven't done yet, so that'll be a learning curve. But that's just what we're going to do. Today's plan is. So we'll see how far I get, because I've got some tomatoes over there that need some attention as well. So we'll see. All right. Yeah, this is the other one that had the potatoes coming out of the ground. So as you can see, the potatoes are getting too big. So if I dig around in here a little bit more, so yeah, there's a lot of potatoes in there under this one little plant. And all these little tiny ones, you can pick them. If they break off and fall in the dirt and you can't find them, don't worry, they'll just grow next year. You know, there's always going to be something that comes up that you've missed, so you'll just have more potatoes come up next year. So in that one plant, what I've got down here at my feet, and I haven't even gone through the actual, I just felt another one there. You know, they're coming out pretty good size potatoes. So there's the seed potato. So I'll give it a better shot of that if I can. So basically, it's the bit of potato. It's all monkey on one side. And yeah, so that's where it would have grown out of to create your potatoes. So yeah, I'm still pulling potatoes out of here. So I think if I let them go till they died off, I would have had a lot more potatoes. There's another one. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, about 13. This one that's growing. Have a look at him. Yeah, he's a bit manky on the other side, so we might not use that. We'll have a look at it when we get it cleaned up inside and see how we go. But yeah, that's it's amazing. For what I put in the ground was probably about $10 worth of potatoes. It was 4 bags. I think they're 3 kilo bags. 3, 6, probably about 10 kilos of potatoes I put in the ground. I've done this section here of it. I've still got all of this to do, and down there. And I have with me here, it's a 20-litre Bunnings bucket, and we're over halfway full with decent sized potatoes. So I'm going to definitely get out of this patch more potatoes than I actually put in here. So it was definitely worth doing. So as I'm digging around the second half of this potato patch here, I've noticed a decrease in the amount of potatoes and a lot more smaller potatoes coming out of it as well. So I've just been thinking about it, and while I'm digging around here in the dirt, I've trying to figure out why one end of the bed has done better than the other end of the head. The second half of this bed is, the soil is a lot drier. It's not as wet as the other end. I've also, as I've gone along, I've not seen as many worms and bugs in this soil. So if you see the soil, it's more sandy. It's not as rich as what the other end is. So I think I'll show you the other end of this in a minute, but you can see it's a lot more, there's more sand, more actual sand in here. I'm not seeing any worms in here. So I would put it down to the soil biology. So I'll just take you over and show you the other end of this, where we started. So this is a lot darker soil. I'll try and get you in the sun. A lot darker soil. It's a lot moister soil, and I've seen a lot more. See if we can find any. But it's a lot nicer looking soil. So that's what I think it is. So I think that second half of my garden bed needs some amending. I need to put some more compost in there, just to try and get the worms into that end of it as well. Because once they're in there, you know your soil's going to be pretty good. So yeah, I mean, my garden bed, the potato bed is one bed, but you can see in a bed of, it's a reasonable size, I don't know, 4 meters long sort of thing, and then you've got the bed down the other end continuing. There is quite a difference in the soil from one end to the other. So it could be that this bit's under the apricot tree, so it's not getting as much. The apricot tree could be taking up some of the nutrients, but I would just say that I just need to add some more compost to this end of the garden bed and go from there and see what happens. I'm still getting a good quality of potatoes, just not as big and not as many of them. So but yeah, that'll be something I'll look at now that I've emptied the bed out. I'll rake it back over, smooth it over. It'll get some compost put onto it, some dynamic lifter, and then it'll get mulched over the top again. So it'll sit like that until I plant. I'm not sure what's going in here yet. So guys, I finished getting the potatoes in. I ended up with 1.5 of those 20 litre buckets of 20 litre bunny buckets. So at the moment I'm just putting them out. They can cure. So I've basically I have milk crates around the place. Sorry, not milk crates, bread crates. So I put a Hessian bag in so that little ones don't fall in. Just spread them out as best you can. Ideally, you know, if they're not on top of each other. But what I've come across is I thought I'd show you some really interesting looking potatoes. There's that one, and then there is this one. So, but out of these, most of the potatoes have come up really good. These are all the larger ones, because you see, so that they won't actually go through the hole. So, weight-wise, I don't know. I've gotten more than what I would have planted in there. Potatoes are one of those things that you can grow them, and they taste really, really great out of your garden. But you need the space to grow them. I've got the space to grow them, so I've grown them, and I like to grow them, so that's what I've done. If you don't have the space, you're better off just buying potatoes for the cost of them, putting them in, how long they take to grow, all that kind of stuff. So you are better off just buying your potatoes. Buy them when they're on special, preserve them when they're on special. So yeah, so basically these potatoes now will sit for a couple of days. You let the skins dry out, let the dirt dry off of them, because we don't want to wash them, especially if you're going to actually be storing them for some time by themselves, just sitting like that. A lot of mine, you know, all these littler ones, I'll probably peel them, cut them in half, or shred them up and dehydrate them. Some of the bigger ones we'll probably use pretty quick up in our dinners, you know, mashed potato, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I will end up buying potatoes from the store to put more up on the shelf, so that I have it all ready to go. So, but yeah, give potatoes a go. It's like a treasure hunt. You know, you never know what you're going to get. So, and I was right about that soil too. As I got back to the area in the garden that had better soil, instantly got bigger potatoes again. So yes, it's a personal choice whether you actually grow potatoes or not. I enjoy doing it, growing, and at least trying to grow most of what I can. Ideally, you can't always grow exactly how much you're going to need for a certain length of time, because you just don't know how many you're going to use. So, but yeah, thanks for coming along with me on this today, guys, and I'll bring you along with whatever it is I do next in the garden. See ya.